Here's how to turn a potato into the best gnocchi you've ever had. We'll start with a few russet potatoes. We use these because they're starchy and dry, which means we'll get a light and fluffy gnocchi once they're cooked. But if you can't find these, just get the potatoes with the highest starch content and lowest moisture possible. The first step is to drizzle a bit of olive oil over each potato and rub it into the skin. This helps to act as a glue for the light coating of salt that we're now gonna add. Some chefs I know just skip this seasoning step entirely, but I've always thought it makes the gnocchi taste just a bit better. This is what I love so much about gnocchi. No fancy ingredients, it's just simple. The final step before tossing them in the oven is to poke each potato about 6 to 8 times across with a fork. This allows steam to escape as they cook. Remember, the drier the potato, the better the gnocchi. For a long time, I didn't know gnocchi could be made from potatoes because so many restaurants use flour and it ends up being chewy, sort of like a bad pasta. I didn't have real gnocchi until the first time I went to Italy, and when I tasted the soft little perfect pillows for the first time, it completely changed the way that I thought about it. Once they're oiled, salted, and poked all over, these go into the oven at 400 Fahrenheit for anywhere between an hour and an hour and a half. But if it goes longer, don't worry. You'd rather go longer than shorter to dry them out. Once the potatoes come out of the oven, we need to move quick. I'll place some hot potato here to get them off my tray. Then we grab our potato ricer, and one at a time we'll open up our potatoes. Now, open up your ricer and scoop the hot potato directly into it, leaving all that skin behind. But don't throw this away. I'll show you what to do with them in just a minute. Push your potato through the ricer directly onto a clean work surface. It should be light and fluffy. I should also mention the potatoes are very hot, so if you need to use a towel like this, you can cut them open this way as well, and that way when they open up and are all hot and steaming, you don't burn your fingers. We want to be getting all this potato out as fast as possible. It'll give you a better gnocchi dough. The real key to making gnocchi is that because it only takes a few ingredients, you need to make sure you treat them properly. The first step is to lightly salt your pile of riced potatoes. Then we want to create a nice well in the center, where we'll then add 1 or 2 egg yolks depending on how much potato you use, and give those a quick mix. This is the binder for our gnocchi. And now, flour. We don't want much. In fact, the gnocchi pros use as little flour as possible. You want just enough that your potato will hold together without falling apart. Next, we begin to bring it all together. Unlike a pasta dough where you want to knead for a long time to develop all that gluten, we don't want to do that here. Gluten is the enemy of gnocchi. Instead, I'm folding and sort of pressing everything together until I've got this nice log here that sort of looks like mashed potato. What I like to do now is cut off one piece and see how it holds together. If I take this piece here and roll it into a log, does it hold together in a nice gnocchi pillow shape like this? I like mine to look like a literal pillow, but some people also just cut it like this, and you've got yourself a little gnocchi square. Either method is fine. But if the answer to that question is no, and you feel like it still needs a touch more flour to hold it together, now's the time. Sprinkle on a bit more flour and work it carefully into the dough. If it feels too sticky, you certainly need a bit more flour as well. It should be a little bit sticky, but not too sticky. Again, we don't want to develop gluten. We don't want it chewy. That's one of the big problems most restaurants have, and that's the reason, in my opinion, most people have never tasted real gnocchi. I can't repeat this enough. The gnocchi will be better the less flour you add. I'm happy now with the consistency, so we can move on now to roll it. When rolling and shaping, you want a sharp knife and a wet towel nearby. I'm gonna give this a quick rinse, then I'll clean my knife, and we work with one piece at a time. It'll make it a lot easier to have some flour nearby as well. First, I'll very lightly dust my work surface, and then roll this out into a nice even log. I like to cut my gnocchi by pinching, then cutting with the tip of the knife, which gives me these beautiful little pillows. And if my knife ever gets sticky, I just clean it with that wet towel and just continue cutting all the way down. See that? Little bow tie. Grab an upside down baking sheet and give that a light dusting of flour as well. Then place all of your gnocchi right on top. That's gonna help you slide it into the pot of boiling water later. And now we just simply repeat. Take off another log, roll it into the proper shape, and continue to cut. Right now, I'm actually using a lot more flour than I would normally use too, because if you're watching this and possibly making gnocchi for the first time, it's very difficult without using a bit more flour. If you get comfortable, you can do it over time and use less and less flour until you've got perfect gnocchi. If I was making this for dinner tonight, my board would not be covered with this much flour. Also, this flour is not really gonna go into my gnocchi. This is to make sure they don't get stuck on my board. Flour is bad. I'm gonna get rid of some. These are finally ready to cook, but first, I'm gonna show you quickly what I do with this. With my potato skins, I'll cover them with olive oil, a quick pinch of salt, some fresh cracked black pepper, a bit of shredded cheese. You can use literally whatever kind of cheese you have or want. And I'm also gonna add just a bit of Parmesan cheese as well for that extra umami kick. And that's it. The oven's already hot, so these go right in, and whenever they're done, we get a little snack. It's time to cook our gnocchi, and the first step is to salt our water like the ocean. Just like with making the gnocchi, we have to move quick here. Grab a large pan like this this one here and begin to warm it up. Then grab something to pick up your gnocchi with, as well as a high smoke point oil, some butter, Parmesan cheese, sage, and lemon. And now in goes our gnocchi. The great thing is they've got a built-in timer for you. In just a few seconds here, many of them are going to start to come up and float to the top. And when that happens, my 30-second timer begins. I'll shift this off to the side and bring in my big pan. Then I'll add some of my high smoke point oil, which we want to get nice and hot. Once my oil is shimmering and my 30-second timer has passed, stand back and drop in the gnocchi. Now we can slow down for a moment and be patient. At this moment, we want to build a crust and let them crisp up. I'll bring my heat down to low and rotate the pan every so often. And while this happens, I can go and get my little snack. Look at those. I'll top these off with a few green onions, a bit more Parmesan cheese, and some sour cream. And now we've made 2 dishes in one. And listen to this. It's almost just like getting free potato chips on the side. The ones I've made here taste like if sour cream and onion chips were actually real. But let's not forget, this is what's most important right now. We're now going to add some butter. And I'm gonna say this now very clearly. If you are making this at home, I'd probably stick with using a nonstick pan. I always prefer stainless steel, but a nonstick pan will make it lots easier not to get these stuck when you give them that crust. This next part is my favorite part about making gnocchi. Once they've naturally released themselves from the pan, I can give them a shake and flip them all over. Now, we can keep snacking if we want, but clean this up because you need to plate. To finish off our gnocchi, in go our sage leaves. These get nice and crispy in just a few moments and make a really amazing garnish. Then some lemon zest. I'm guessing you can start to see right now why this is one of my favorite things to make at home. Once I'm happy with how golden brown these are, I'll bring them over to my plate, stack them into your bowl carefully. I only do a few at a time. Remember, they're pillows, so treat them that way. Now's a good time to taste your work. They're very hot. It should be buttery, fluffy, the lightest mashed potato you've ever had with the crust. They are so incredibly beautiful. And now to finish our sauce. First, remove the sage or continue cooking until those leaves are crispy. Then lemon juice into the pan, as well as pasta water and a little more butter if you need it. Mix vigorously to emulsify until you've made a sauce. If you want to be fancy, you can even strain it. To plate, sauce over the top of the gnocchi, a bit more lemon zest and some freshly grated Parmesan cheese, and finally those crispy sage leaves. Now for the best part of all, eating it. This is one of the few dishes out there that I have a really hard time describing. It's like nothing you've ever tasted before. This only takes ingredients that you probably have right now in your fridge at home, so what are you waiting for? And as a reminder, it's gnocchi, not gnocchi, gnocchi.